This programme was made with the support of the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland.
With pedals turning, the miles are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring. From the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing, Ireland is there for you and me.
Ireland has great appeal. In the Emerald Isle, and you think it really is an Emerald Isle.
The Irish people seem to be very open-minded and friendly and welcoming.
We live in this most beautiful little bit of heaven.
Irish people are so nice and it's good. It's a totally different feeling, and the people and the way everyone behaves and everything, it's really welcoming and warm.
The people have just been grand.
The people, they're so pragmatic, they live to live.
The people are brilliant, the food is delicious. I like everything here.
The scenery is breathtaking.
I had to see Ireland and I waited 60 years.
I'm Paul Wright and welcome to the 12th programme of On Your Bike, the series which celebrates those people and places we encounter on our cycle odyssey along Ireland's western seaboard. In our last programme we cycled from Letterfrack village in County Galway to Killary Harbour and beyond. Now a few miles north of Leenane village, well here's what happened me next.
I've just come from Leenane now, got my third puncture of my cycle odyssey, and I'm just talking with a man here now. I passed over the Ashleigh Falls just on the Mayo side of Leenane. I've crossed into County Mayo, and I just rendezvoused with a fisherman here just down by the Ashleigh Falls bridge. We're overlooking a gorgeous expanse of River Falls. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Yeah, I'm Hugh Jemison from County Antrim.
Now, Hugh, you have a gorgeous fly fishing rod here, and you've been casting your rod Excalibur, waxing lyrical here, out into the river there, just watching you. I mean, how are you finding the fishing today?
There's plenty of fish around. I haven't caught any yet, but I'm sure I will catch some later on. There's a lot of fish showing, fresh fish coming in to the river. We're down by the sea pool here below the Ashleigh Bridge, and there's a lot of fish leaping about.
And what kind of fish would you be fishing for now?
It's salmon I'm fishing for. There's sea trout as well. I've seen quite a few sea trout. They both run up the river this time of the year to spawn up on the head reaches of the Arif.
And what's the Arif like to fish in contrast to other rivers now around Ireland that you've fished in?
Well, this is my favourite river. It's in the nicest country. This is the lowest beat, but at the top of the river you're up in the mountains, and it's just beautiful walking over the moorland, as long as the midges aren't out.
Right, and obviously you're a diehard. I mean, our listeners can't see you, but you're fully kitted out in fishing gear, and your gear, your rod is it's a good rod. I mean, how important is it to have the right equipment and to be properly dressed out for, say, facing all the elements when you're out fishing?
Well, the dressing, the only important bit is if it keeps the rain out, if it's totally waterproof.
Absolutely.
And windproof. As far as tackle's concerned, even basic trout tackle can catch a salmon. The fly would be the most important thing. I'd have changed my fly half a dozen times in the last hour because there's fish showing here, but I just can't get them to move to any fly at all.
And Hugh, I'm going to ask the obvious question. What makes a good fly fisherman?
A bit of insanity, patience and dedication. It's a bug. Once you get it, you can't stop.
No pun intended on the fly.
I travelled 200 miles this morning to come down here to fish. I left home at 5 o'clock in the morning to get down here to fish. I'm staying for a few days. But it's something that once it gets you, you might as well give up because you're hooked.
we actually just saw a fish jumping there now. Just a salmon, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a salmon. It looked like 5 or 6 pounds. Nice fish. If I hadn't been wasting the time here talking into this, I might have caught it, you know.
Sorry, profuse apologies from Irish radio. We'll send a letter of apology now, an official letter from the authorities in the post shortly, Hugh. But Hugh, just for yourself, I mean, you know, you've fished the length and breadth of the country. You know it inside out. What are your own favourite parts of Ireland? I mean, what is it that does it for this country, about this island for yourself?
Well, where we are is a favourite part in Connemara. This is just where I can get away from it all down here. You forget about work very quickly down here. I know a lot of the people around here, and the crack's great, and it's always nice to have a pint of Guinness at the end of the day as well. It's a social aspect as well as the fishing.
I'd say that there must be great crack later on when you're talking with fellow fishermen, you know, about, well, how did it go for you today, and the tall tales, and the fish are getting longer as the night is getting longer.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. The lies start off at the start of the evening and get worse as it goes on.
Okay, well, look at you. I just want to say on behalf of all our listeners, best of luck now in your fishing exploits today. I hope you catch plenty, hope their fish are biting, and Godspeed with that, with casting that rod there.
Okay, thank you very much.
We'll cycle boreens, cycle highways, meet friendly kind folk down every byway to tell us stories of their own lives, living in the beauty of this country.
I'm here now. I'm just in the middle of the Delphi Valley. There's a gorgeous river. Don't ask me the name of it beside me. I'm talking with a man here now. Do you want to introduce yourself to our listeners and just tell them how we met? You know, I mean, you're a fellow cyclist like myself. You've got the panniers in the back of the bike, a tent. So we kind of were sharing more stories, so to speak, here.
I was rolling down really fast, and this gentleman spoke to me as I came towards him. I was coming off the Wheelery Mountains in Murisk, and very lovely it is too, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to take a cycling trip or any sort of trip. And I'm on my way back to Galway. When I say back to Galway, that's on my way back to Dublin and then back to London.
Fantastic. And your first name is?
And my first name's John.
John.
71, and this is my bicycle, which is a classic orange mountain bike, one of the best.
Zefal. Wow. And you said to me, John, as well, you got the bike in '97, and you haven't had one puncture.
Oh no, that's not quite right. I've never had a puncture when I've been on a trip like this. I've just been very lucky, I suppose.
That's fantastic. I mean, that is really good. That's what you call, that's a big deal for cyclists. Major big deal. And just regarding, I mean, John, you've come all the way from Sligo.
I have, yes. I was in Sligo yesterday, and last night in Westport, and on to Clifton tonight.
God, John, you're making good speed. Speed.
Yes, it's not just I'm an old man, so I'm lucky to be able to do this sort of thing. I'm lucky to be fit enough. So it's partly the exercise that I come for, and of course for the beauty as well. I like to cycle in beautiful places, like last year I was in Holland, and the year before that I was cycling in Brittany, and the year before that I can't remember. So probably somewhere else.
That's fantastic. With 71 years of age, and you're flying along there. I mean, not a bother in the world. John, what's the secret to eternal youth? I mean, I'm not saying you've got the secret to the elixir, but I mean, certainly you're doing the right thing. That's for sure. I mean, what is it that keeps a person young?
Well,
in your own opinion,
the secret of eternal life is knowing that you can die tomorrow. And that's something in your 70s that you keep in mind. So it makes life very present, and eternal life in fact is this present moment. I'm sure you you know and all your listeners know.
Absolutely. There's a mystery there that is there are a lot of food for thought. And John, just try and give our listeners a word picture now. There's a river right beside us here. We can hear it in the background. And just try and give them a word picture of where we're sitting at the moment. Just the two bicycles beside us here and shooting the breeze.
Yes, okay. Well, we're looking, I think it's called the Bandera River. And it comes out of a lake whose name I've forgotten, but I'll find it. Dúloch, it's called.
You're just looking at the map here now.
I've come through the Dúloch Pass and along the Dúloch, heading down to the sea, Killary Harbour, and
you'll be hitting Linan shortly. I just spent the night there myself.
Yes.
And John,
and this is I think this is a trout stream, but certainly there were people fishing in the loch. And this is a very managed river. There's lots of little dams all the way down it to control the flow. And I imagine that's partly for the fishermen, but also to stop erosion, because you notice that in the dams the main flow is in the centre of the dam. There's always a little bit left in the centre, and that directs the water away from the banks.
John, you're coming from London yourself. I mean, quite a contrast now, leaving London and coming across to Ireland. I mean, how much of a contrast just for yourself?
Oh, utter and complete contrast. And I was staying in a cottage for a couple of days, and even though it was a beautiful place and it looked out on Innisfree, the most beautiful thing about it was that I could step out of the door and not hear any traffic, not an aeroplane, hardly ever even an aeroplane. You know, it's a long way from anywhere. And I think that the complete lack of busyness is what is wonderful. And of course, it's becoming a lot busier now. You know, just people are travelling faster in their cars and they want to make more money, and it's getting just like the rest of the world in many ways. But still, the country is here. So, come to the west of Ireland.
Island of grandeur at every sunrise, island of splendour at every moonrise, with herons waiting and gannets diving, salmon leaping, wild deer thriving. The door is open to friend or stranger, 100,000 welcomes you will find.
Continuing my cycle along Ireland's beautiful western seaboard, I next cycled from Delphi Valley via Louisburg town to County Mayo's most famous holy mountain, Croagh Patrick. Wanting to get a bird's eye view from the mountain, well, it was at this stage that I decided to climb it.
I'm here now on the side of Croagh Patrick. We're nearly at the summit, but I'm after rendezvousing with a few good people from Wisconsin. Yourself, who am I talking?
Lou Yeager.
Louis, who's your two colleagues in mountaineering exploits here?
Bob and Doon Mullen.
Right, Bob. And Louis, for yourself, you've been how long in Ireland now?
Been here for about 3 days. Flew into Shannon, then came up the west coast and ended up in Clifton for the last 2 days.
Great.
It was wonderful.
Right. And here you are now on the side of Croagh Patrick, living the dream.
Yes, this is a really steep mountain. You can hardly stay on your feet.
I'll tell you one thing, it's the most precipitous, if you want to call it, on the edge interview I've ever done in my life, you know. But anyway, Louis, for yourself, I mean, what's this? How did you learn about Croagh Patrick now? Where did you first hear of it, and why are you here today?
Well, I think it was Bob Mullen that knew about this. His brother was over, several years ago?
About 16 years ago.
16 years ago. And we were just taking our time and looking for things to go and see. And this looked like a challenge. And, when you're traveling, it's kind of fun to get out and hike a little bit, see the country, get some fresh air. And we have plenty here today.
Well, you're right there, and fresh air and flesh air and more. And just for yourself, Bob, I mean, how is it going for yourself now,
Oh, I'm actually loving it. It's the reason I'm in Ireland here for me so much is to see all the characters in the pubs. We're having a great time doing that. Last night we were at a festival in Clifton and came upon a hen night, something I had never heard of before. There must have been 15 girls there celebrating. A gal's getting married, and she's getting married in 5 weeks, I think it is. And it was just fabulous. You know, all the characters in there with the band and traditional music. Loved it. Absolutely fabulous. But yeah, for me, I could probably stay in a very small part of Ireland and just see characters, and I'd be just as happy as seeing every possible site in the whole country, I think.
Wow.
But there's no shortage of characters here.
I'd well believe it, absolutely. And just for yourselves, I mean, coming from Wisconsin, a great farming state, expansive, massive expanses of land, you know, and cereals, tillage, you name it, a whole lot. I mean, how different is it when you come to Ireland? I mean, is it a bit of a shock or what? Is there anything that kind of surprised you that was a bit, say, you didn't expect it was out of the ordinary?
The temperature right now is about the same as fall in Wisconsin, but certainly we've got all kinds of trees everywhere. You know, here there's no trees, and the hedges are along the roads. You know, the roads are only about 5 feet wide. They're very narrow, and there's rocks on both sides. So that's the biggest thing, is the narrow winding roads and the land without the trees, the bogs. We stepped in bogs twice yesterday, you know, and it got all wet. But that's the most difference. It's fun to look out on the coast from the heights like this, to see the ocean. That's a lot of fun. That's the main difference.
And Bob, just give our listeners, I mean, I don't think our listeners realise we're right on the edge of Croagh Patrick here, looking out on a fantastic vista. Try and give our listeners a word picture of just what you're looking at the moment now.
As you look over now, we're 1,500 feet, 2,000 feet in the air up here on the mountain, and you look down on the valleys and you see peat bogs. It looks like quite an operation in peat over to the direction there. You've got some pine forest. They look planted forest, pine forest down there. Some lakes, beautiful lakes, a lot of rocks, a lot of sheep. And then you look off to the left and you see the ocean. Tide looks like it's going out, so you see a lot of little islands. The islands look almost mowed. Maybe they have sheep out there. They look almost mowed, very green. A little foggy today, but you can still see for miles. Breezy, of course, up here. It's just fantastic. Very nice.
That's great. God, I'll tell you one thing. You have a gift of describing things, you know, in lucid detail. And Bob, I mean, for yourself, what's been the highlight of your visit so far now to the Emerald Isle? I mean, what kind of sticks out in your mind's eye?
The highlight, just like my friend, being here with good friends, that's the biggest thing. But then going out and seeing the people. We look for folks to speak with. We're enjoying our time with you, as a matter of fact, and just asking them questions, and they've got as many questions for you, where we come from and what we do. So that's the best part, to get people to describe what they do every day. My biggest mission coming over this time was to dig peat. But I found out that peat is only dug in the spring, so we can't dig peat. But it's kind of fun to go and see the bogs and the piles of peat and see it.
Because obviously Wisconsin, do you have marshlands out there, or peatlands or boglands, you know, in Wisconsin?
Well, we have bogs and swamps, but it must not be the same thing, because nobody there would dig peat. Nobody would dig it up.
Would burn turf, yeah, for the fire and all that, for fuel and keep the house warm.
Right. No turf, and I've never heard of it over there. So maybe it's different territory, different kind of peat material. You know, I don't know what the difference is, but certainly there's lowlands, and certainly it's wet and marshy, lakes. But this is totally different.
Right. And okay, we're here on the side of Croagh Patrick now. I mean, what do you know about St. Patrick? Do you know anything at all? Like, I mean, is he just a kind of a mythic figure or what? I mean, what's your knowledge of St. Patrick now?
Well, no, I don't know all that much about St. Patrick.
I'm putting you on the spot here now.
Back in the day, I think I knew a lot more, but I kind of forgot about it. And apparently he threw some snakes out from up here. Is that the deal?
Right. And probably sent them over to the east side of the country where I am, in Parliament houses or whatever.
Bob, do you know more about St. Patrick than I do? I don't know. Great guy, though, I understand.
Wonderful. I'm hoping to meet him at the top and get an exclusive interview for radio.
I would say I think St. Patrick probably could have cast the same snakes out of Ireland if he would have done it from down below, I think.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, he was a fair man for one man. And look at from our dispatch here on the side of Croagh Patrick. I'm going to be reaching the top there very shortly. I just want to say, Louis, Bob and Lorna, thanks profusely. This has been the most on the edge interview I've ever done in my life. Thank you very much. The pleasure and the privilege was all mine.
Thank you. It was enjoyable.
Thank you very much.
It was fun. Thank you very much.
We'll climb Croagh Patrick and make our penance. with joyous happy pilgrims we'll descend.
I'm talking with another few good Americans here now. I was just talking with Louis, Lorna and Bob from Wisconsin. But a few more statessiders here now. We're very near the very peak of Croagh Patrick here. What are your names, please?
My name is Mike.
And I'm Kristen.
Great. And you've been over in Ireland for a few days now.
Yeah, we're finishing a 10-day tour from Dublin around the southern part of the island and now up through Connemara, and we're flying out of Shannon tomorrow.
Wow, right. So you're having a good time anyway. You're enjoying your time here in the Emerald Isle.
Yes, it's been a great experience to be here and see all the different countryside and talk with all the people. Everybody's so lovely here.
Even on the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
The best way is on the side of a mountain. This is the best that Ireland has to offer. You can see up here. It's unbelievable.
Mike and Kirsten, when you arrived into Dublin, how did your journey progress from day one?
Well, we showed up, we checked into our first bed and breakfast, and were greeted with a very friendly B&B owner who sat us down and gave us a little tour and a map of where we should go and what we should see, and gave us tea and some cookies and chocolates. And I'll tell you, from that morning we were off to a good start. We toured around Dublin, saw some of the highlights, and then we started the next day with our rental car, where we decided that Kristen had to drive on the opposite side of the road using a manual transmission, and on the opposite side and on narrower streets than we've ever seen before in our life. So it got hairy and exciting, and it's been honestly a thrill ever since we started. It's been a true adventure.
That's fantastic. And Kristen, what's been the joy of driving? Either the joy or the horror of driving Irish roads?
Well, actually, it's been kind of an evolution from terrifying, just having cars come at you in what you think is supposed to be your lane, and they're really coming at you head on. So the combination of the narrow roads, the little car, and I think just getting used to the different traffic signs and everything is a whole combination of things to get used to. But it only took a few days, and once we got farther and farther west and into the country, it turned from terrifying to really enjoyable and now a lot of fun.
That's good. That's good. So and you haven't. What's the sheep count at the moment? The sheep body count.
Oh, we haven't hit any.
Just jesting.
We've seen loads. We've seen more sheep than ever, I think, but haven't hit anything yet.
Right. You're right. Okay. So lamb won't be for dinner tonight,
right.
Anyway, okay? Bad joke there, sorry. And just for yourself, Mike, okay, you started off from Dublin. How did things progress from there?
We went from Dublin and stopped in Glendalough in the Wicklow Mountains. We drove down after a short stop there, down through, and I'm going to pronounce these towns wrong, so I apologize to the Irish countrymen. But then we went from there to Kilkenny. We spent a beautiful, wonderful night at a B&B in Kilkenny. We toured the Kilkenny Castle, and then we took off for Cashel. We toured Cashel and then stopped in Kenmare, and we used Kenmare as our base for the Ring of Kerry. We did the Ring of Kerry in one long day of beautiful sights, and we finished that day up in Dingle. And then we stayed in town Dingle and had wonderful food the entire time, and did the Dingle Peninsula the next day, and it just seemed like the sights kept getting better and better and better, and we were just loving every second of it. And then we spent 2 nights in Dingle, and then from there we drove up to Galway. We spent a wonderful night in Galway, which was quite adventurous to be around, very lively. And then from there we took a boat over to the Aran Islands and spent a night on Inishmore, and went to Dunangus and hung over the cliffs and became very nauseous and from the steep drops. And we stopped that day at the Cliffs of Moher as well. And I just think we've been soaking up everything we can, and now we're based in Clifton, where we spent last night and had a wonderful breakfast this morning and a wonderful night's sleep. And we drove through Connemara, and now we're here climbing Croagh Patrick.
Fantastic. God, I'll tell you one thing, you've got around, you really have. I mean, you've done a good bit of touring there. You've got more bang for your buck there, there's no doubt about it. I mean, really, you're not wasting time. I mean, you're getting out there and you're seeing the whole jalopy.
Absolutely, and I think that although it's been a fair amount of driving, I don't feel like it's been rushed either. We've gotten good night's sleep. We've had good breakfasts. We're in most towns before nightfall, and we go have a nice dinner, and we have a few pints, and then we tuck her in, and the next morning wake up for a new adventure. So it's kind of all we know. You know, it would be hard to stay still whenever you have so much at your fingertips.
Island of grandeur at every sunrise, island of splendor at every moonrise, with herons waiting and gannets diving, salmon leaping and wild deer thriving. The door is open to friend or stranger, 100,000 welcomes you will find. Yes, the door is open to friend or stranger, 100,000 welcomes you will find.
I'm talking with a few good women here now, and just here at the top of Croagh Patrick still, and you're holding actually candles in your hands. Before I ask you about the candles, first of all, who am I talking to?
Martina Harrington from Roscommon, Mary Daly Scanlon from Athlone, and Caroline Daly from Athlone.
And women, what's the significance of the candles here now on the top of Croagh Patrick?
Well, just to light a candle for people and to ask maybe the Lord to bless them and thank the Lord for being able to make it to the top. It's a tough old climb.
It surely is. I mean, I've been talking with a lot of people, but it's a great challenge as well. And when you get to the, I mean, it's a great feeling of say, a job well done when you get to the top, isn't it?
It's a great achievement.
And have you actually done it yourselves, women, before, have you?
No, this is my maiden voyage now today. It was tough now, but I kind of was consistently taking a few breaks, and we eventually made it to the top. Keep the head down, keep going.
That's it, nose to the grindstone, so to speak. And Mary, how did you find the climb now today?
Well, the first part of it actually I found very, very tough this morning when I was starting off. I didn't think I was actually going to make it, because I said if I was feeling that bad and starting off, I wouldn't make it to the summit. As previous times I found it fine and it was steady going. But in the end it was grand and enjoyable, nice fresh day, so very good.
That's true. It's very fresh, isn't it? There's a cool breeze there now. And Caroline, for yourself?
I've thought it was grand.
You've done it before yourself,
I've done it before. This is my actual third time, but the first time I did it I didn't make it to the top. I got terrified when I got near the top and could look down because the sun was shining, so you could see the whole way to the ground. So I got stuck and couldn't make it. But the second time then I did, and this time I did. And I could see to the ground today too, so it was great.
That's fantastic. I mean, it is a very, very precipitous climb, isn't it? I mean, the last part there, it's very, very steep, isn't it?
It's very steep in the last part, all right, but it's good. It's worth it when you get here.
To hear more exciting travel adventures, then make sure to catch our next and last number 13 programme in this 13-part On Your Bike series, when we'll be visiting Westport Town and much more. This programme was made with the support of the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, song by Cliff Wedgbury. From myself, Paul Wright, bye for now.
With the pedals turning, the miles are burning, revealing landscapes so awe-inspiring. From the crashing ocean to the mountains climbing, Ireland is there for you and me. From Ouna Skull to Inishowen, from the Dalkey Island to Inishboffin, from Carrontool to Lugnaquilla, Ireland is there to ramble free. We'll climb the mountains, swim the rivers, surf the high tide up near Bundoran, set our mainsail towards the Shannon, or see the hookers race off Spiddle Shore. On Blasket Island we'll walk the white strand and see where Peg drew her inspiration. Near Ennis Diamond we'll stand on high cliffs, those proud and majestic cliffs of Moher. We'll climb the steps of Skellig Michael, gaze with wonder as dolphins play.